welcome to the Outlaw Mud Show Drive-In. My name is Joe Connor. With me is Mohammed Fadi.
Hello, everyone.
James Blanton.
Happy Easter, everyone. And the solo opposite are going to Wrestlemania.
Yes, they are. And Pete Guest is not here. He is helping break someone out of prison so they can stop all the super soldiers. But we do have a holiday to celebrate. It's Will Ospreay Day, celebrated all around the world. And it's also a holiday next weekend. It is WrestleMania. And right now, Muhammad and I should be at WrestleMania had it actually been on its regular date. But, you know, how the world is. And last year's WrestleMania was quite odd, but I still say that WWE did the best that they could in the circumstances. At the time, I was thinking right after WrestleMania that they should take a couple months off. You know, the United States, people don't really do that type of stuff here, and so WWE, while not great in 2020, at least gave fans entertainment, quote unquote entertainment, but gave us a good WrestleMania for what they could do, and they did interesting aspects that continued throughout the year with like cinematic matches. I do kind of miss the empty arena crowds because it just had like a eerie vibe to it.
Yeah.
And last year's WrestleMania was full of that. This year, we're not going to have the Thunderdome, not going to have the empty crowd. We're actually going to have fans again. Starting on last year, 2-night WrestleMania, the pre-show had Cesaro defeating Drew Gulak, which actually makes sense for a pre-show match because they were both partners with people that were facing off later on in the evening at that point. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeated the Kabuki Warriors, which, you know, another Austin Asuka's column, but, you know, she recovered greatly a month later. Elias defeated King Corbin, which is a feud that never really had a complete blow-off, possibly thankfully on that one. Becky Lynch defeated Shayna Baszler. It was short, a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. But it wasn't bad, but it was nothing necessarily great either. I was expecting more from that match. Sami Zayn defeated Daniel Bryan. John Morrison defeated Jimmy Uso and Kofi Kingston. And one of the more innovative ways to win a ladder match, I thought the finish of this was great.
And he defeated them for
it was odd, you know,
to retain the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
SmackDown, yes. It was a singles match for the tag title, so it was different again right there, but way that the actual they all meshed perfectly together. But Morrison dropping down after being hit was perfect. It's a perfect way to keep a heel as champion without making the faces necessarily look weak. Kevin Owens defeated Seth Rollins. It's not that it was a bad match, it's just at this point the feud was just done to death. It had been like 5 months at that point, and I was just completely over it. Braun Strowman defeated Goldberg. Probably the less said, the best on that one. And then we had a match of night one, the cinematic match, Boneyard match of The Undertaker defeating AJ Styles. This was an awesome match that was pure Taker. It had a lot of that early 90s like horror western Taker vignettes in it. It had an American Badass version of Taker, and AJ was just perfect antagonist in this match. Was fun from top to bottom. Everything pretty much worked in it. It's a match that a lot of people hate because cinematic matches have become basically a love it or hate it type of match. I've honestly enjoyed most of them, but this one here I would say is probably the best of the best. As far as night one, I know Mohammed will have a lot to say about the Boneyard match. Mohammed, what did you think of night one of WrestleMania 36?
Well then, I'll say like watching it was kind of like a surreal
It was.
experience. It was kind of weird, seeing WrestleMania in the smallest venue it's ever been. It's in the performance center and thing, but knowing the world, how the world is, and knowing the people, I'll say this: WrestleMania 36 did what us as wrestling fans needed a lot, which was a distraction from the world going to hell. And we needed that, and this WrestleMania provided it. It's definitely gonna go down as the most unconventional, WrestleMania of all time. It's weird. It's quiet at times. It's not. It has the biggest element, which is crowd participation taken out of it. It's just it's different. Let's say even the performance center shows leading up to WrestleMania did not feel as awkward as this was, because it's WrestleMania, so your expectation is higher than that for a Raw or a SmackDown or.
Yeah.
So you're going into WrestleMania going up. If I remember, we were looking at Facebook, there were people complaining all the way, this is not WrestleMania, why would they do this? This should have been canceled, or this should have been done so and so. But I think it was a good show. Running down these matches, I remember I was crushed that the Kabuki Warriors lost. It was again, I feel like Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross at that point did not need those titles anymore. It was their time with those titles was done. What else do we have here? I know you guys did not like Becky Lynch driving up with the.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't like that.
Yeah, but I honestly loved it. It's something about there was this thing about when the storyline before the story hit, where the truck horn just comes out blaring, and the truck coming out in the dead of the night where there is no one else around. That actually made me think, wow, this is a really cool visual.
I liked it, but I think then they do it. That's not the first time they showed it, right? I think they did either before or after.
It was the second time. They had her one time.
Yeah.
But again, it's a special entrance in what they had for what they had at the time.
I liked it. I just wish they kind of just saved it for Mania. Yeah. That's all. I think they did it before. That's all. Yeah. But I liked it.
I agree with you. But I think it's what happened was that they didn't know what they were going to do for Mania. They were just.
Yeah,
they're going with the flow, whatever way it goes. So, it's I think Zayn and Bryan had, as far as empty arena matches and filling that void of sound goes, I think this was the best match in that regard, because Zayn was very loud. Zayn was emoting loudly in his emotions. He was he would go to pin Bryan would kick out, and Zayn would just break into this sobbing theme. And having three other guys around the ring, which were Cesaro, Drew Gulak, and Nakamura, also helped it. I guess I'll say it's the crowdiest match they had. It's just that. And you got. The ladder match was pretty good. It's also, once again, once you see it, once you watch it, it's again, it's very important for them to do the trash talk while wrestling, because you're filling void, because there's no crowd noise, so you're filling those audio gaps where there's no action going on, but you're like getting up and something, and that's when Kofi was like sort of apologizing to Jimmy Uso that he was, he had to take him out. He's like, you're a good warrior, Uso, but I gotta take you out, something in that form. And like you said, Joe, Owens versus Rollins, I was completely out of this match because they had run this robber into the ground, and it's just, this match was the one I wanted to just, get through it and over, but Owens jumping up the WrestleMania sign was a cool visual for what they had. Then you got Strowman versus Goldberg. It's the best match you can get out of both of them. I mean, Goldberg is the guy who's gonna come out and play the hits. He's not gonna, do a drop toe hold or something. He's gonna spear and jackhammer and lock up. That's what he's gonna do. And Strowman, I mean, I know Strowman is pretty popular with a lot of guys, but I don't find him exciting at all. It's just
popular.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you go, he's not. No, at the time of WrestleMania 36, he was popular as hell. Like, people were like,
he was,
yeah. People were, like, they draw, like, after he lost the title to the Fiend. Afterwards, he went down because they screwed him up on the push. But like, going from WrestleMania 34 to 35 to 36, he was getting a lot of reactions. Good, a lot of people were buying into it.
It just always after he turned. I didn't even know. That whole last year, I just thought he was boring because it was just the same old thing, in and out and stuff like that. I think, to me, it's after the Lashley feud.
Yeah.
That's when it was just like, it's just,
Yeah.
That's how I felt that he was downhill for me.
Yeah. But again, like, out of the Power Slam and maybe some sort of, like, Gorilla Press, can you name any trademark offensive maneuver he has? No. I can't. Oh. I don't know anything else.
Nope. Lift heavy stuff. Lift heavy stuff.
Yeah, there you exactly. Go. Flip trucks over. That's his thing. That's his trademark.
Exactly.
So, you're gonna match him up with Goldberg. I mean, it's the best you're gonna get out of both of them. I think Roman Reigns versus Goldberg was gonna be a better match, but I think it's still a blessing in disguise because Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, I think, would have needed a crowd more than any other match that was going to be on that card.
Yeah.
They were going to need people to ooh and ah at the spear and then the Superman punch and the jackhammer. But with the lack of the crowd and, they just, cut the fat. And the same type of match happened on night 2, but we'll get to that later. I'll say one more thing about this. The commentary in the Performance Center, I hated how the audio produced it because you could hear, for example, Michael Cole through his headset and you can hear him through the cameras in the ring, which kind of, take you out of it. It's sort of like, if you're going to have commentators in this closed area, you should have them in like a soundproof studio or something in the back, or like, behind plexiglass, because... And maybe I'm overthinking this, but logically wise, if he's gonna say, for example, Orton is measuring up Edge, and then Edge can hear you, so he's gonna know Orton is coming.
Yeah.
I was always like, well, he's gonna hear hear him, he's gonna, just do that. So you're kind of like affecting the match by doing. And then we come to the main event: Undertaker versus AJ Styles in the Boneyard match. I cannot say enough good things about this match. Like,
you say that about every Undertaker match. I think you can.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I'm gonna talk about like the presentation stuff, not necessarily Taker's match, because first of all, it turned out to be Undertaker's last match, and I just hate that he did not hit AJ with a tombstone to end his, for his last match on it. He did hit a tombstone in the match, but it was somewhere else. But I remember, like, as far as cinematic matches go, like, well, just like you, Joe, I like pretty much all of them except, for 2 or 3. But like when the final deletion started, and they built up this world, and then they had the Ultimate Deletion, I think a couple of years earlier, under the WWE banner. I think that's WWE's second cinematic match, but it was a great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, third, because
Well, you had the Wyatt's versus New Day.
Wyatt and New Day.
And then
Yeah.
I think they went right into the Ultimate Deletion there. That's second, and then
Yeah, this would be
this is
third then.
But this is the one where I think like the WWE machine, the WWE production system, which is, again, I will say this: they are the best live entertainment company in the world. They're not. That's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not up for debate because anything is debatable, but I don't see an argument against them for this. But this is not live entertainment. This is studio for entertainment. Or this is
yes, and it's the Undertaker, so you gotta your A game gotta be up.
Exactly. And they brought in like this. They made it instead of just a cinematic match that will just be forgotten next to the Tooth and Nail or the what's it called, the Apocalypto, the tag team turmoil thing that matched and the Compound or something. They created the gold standard of cinematic matches in this one. It's everything from the intro to even the build-up that they had going into it, from that intro to the Undertaker riding in on a motorcycle, to the music that they use, not just licensing Now That We Are Dead from Metallica, but also the score that they had for this match, for the lack of a better time. That was awesome. It's like, because they had this thing where the Undertaker and AJ start to fight, and then the Undertaker, like, I can't remember if he stuffed him on the grave yet, or he was just about to do it, and then the Good Brothers show up, and the music shifts into something else, and the camera brings it in. And it felt like one of those. Do you guys remember where they had these old school Western horrors where there's a protagonist and he's been in a series of movies, and this is just something one of those things that happened at the 90s 2000-ish type of vibe.
Right.
Yeah, and they had that zoom in on the Undertaker with that Western guitar playing. And I was like, whoa, okay, this actually does feel like it's a real movie. It's not like it's not a wrestling match trying to be a movie. It is a movie, and I loved it. It's like, and it's bringing it full circle, having the Druids come out, but the Druids turn on the Undertaker, and the Undertaker fights them all off, and they fight over that house that's looking onto the graveyard. And in my mind now, I'm thinking this is the same house from the 2/21/11 promos where they kept counting down to the Undertaker coming out, and he just opens the door back in 2011. You guys remember that house?
Yeah.
and AJ Styles, wow, like. We always knew AJ had it in him to be like a high-level entertainer, in addition to being a high-level wrestler. But this was like another level of AJ Styles. This could be AJ's breaking into Hollywood type of role if he chooses so. And just the end of it with AJ begging him off, and the Undertaker just throwing him into the grave and throwing him in the dirt, and then just he raises his hands and the flames shoot up and the symbol appears. I could have done without the laser projected symbol. Honestly, I would have rather the symbol.
I thought it was kind of cool.
I did too, but there's it puts in your mind that there's a laser projector on that site. So
yeah,
it's just I love the symbol itself coming out, but it's just it would have shown the symbol in a different way.
But then again,
Don't question the power of the Undertaker.
Already raised his hands and had buildings collapsing.
Exactly. Don't question his power.
if he wants to project a symbol, he'll project a symbol.
Exactly.
But it's like the Undertaker's power now includes just bringing out a laser projector.
Yes, everything.
So he'd be great at weddings then.
Mohammed, think about this. Think about this as a Taker fan. Think about this. You're missing the point. You're missing the point of this. It completely went over your head.
Because the laser was pointing at the ones.
No, here it is. This was Taker's last match, and that was his last power. You are smacking Taker in the face by denying his last power that he has ever put onto WWE television.
Exactly. And he even brought Paul Bear back on his very final
that was his last power. He projected an image of Paul Bear without the laser.
This was in the ring. This was in a match though, or after a match though.
Okay, and he summoned druids, which begs the question: if he can summon druids, why could he just take out AJ before the match?
Well, he didn't summon the druids. The Good Brothers brought the druids though. I mean, he can summon. Yeah. I mean, did he ever summon druids, or did the druids just come, just summon him? Actually, when you think about his presentation,
the druids did join up with him because, according to Michael Cole, the Brood were the druids this whole entire time.
What?
All along, the druids were the Brood. That's what Michael Cole said.
Even in 96,
according to Michael Cole,
they brought him out. Wow.
You the expert. You supposed to let us know that. Not tell us.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like
if
the druids appear when
you listen to how Michael Cole announces it.
I don't remember Michael Cole saying it, but yeah, it's
February 1999.
So they were like when they were revealed as the new Ministry members. Yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were the druids all along. That's what Michael Cole established on it.
Yes, it was very eye-rolling Michael Cole dialogue from geez, 20 years ago. I was gonna say 10 years ago, but
it's the same thing. Like when he said Midian was floating and Midian was just still on the. He's But I'd always think that the druids appeared when Undertaker needed them. They didn't summon them. They would just show up either heralding his arrival, or they would take him away when he gets betrayed by Paul Bear to, It's very weird. It's very weird creatures. I would love for the WWE to produce a comic book series just, exploring the world of the druids. They could explore like the whole like Western Taker story, and the druids could be all the souls that he claimed. Oh, that would be nice. And then like every issue would be like one of the druids telling their story about how they were claimed by the Undertaker and something. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Okay, we'll pitch this. That's it. You like it? Let's see. Do you like it, James?
I like it.
Okay.
He likes it.
He likes it. Success. But it's a great thing, and I remember getting pushback on this, but you cannot tell me that night one does not count. AJ Styles has main evented the WrestleMania. That is undeniable fact. And it was a great way to end night one. It's something that no one expected going into WrestleMania, how well it was going to be, how it was going to be good, and it sort of separates itself from the rest of the show because it goes into another level of things. But it ended the night with a smile on your face. Yeah. James,
we were all jacked at the end of that
I remember
night.
We were all in that one chat, and we were all like, "Yes!"
One chat.
Yeah, we loved it. We were in several chats actually, but James, what did you think?
I was in one chat.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was right. I was in 3. You're right. Fortunately, I was in 3. I didn't really. Let me say this, and I have to be honest. It was a weird adjustment not having no fans there, and So I'm not really about the whole fan energy and stuff. I agree that the noise and the hype, it does get you up there. It does make a match even better when you hear the fans and stuff like that. But I wasn't too concerned about WrestleMania being that way because I'm just like, oh, it's a smaller building, no fans. I still thought it'd be big and grand and stuff like that they worked their way around there. They really didn't, but it wasn't too much of a problem. It was different and stuff like that. But overall, I thought it was good. I agree with you. I wanted Kabuki Warriors to win. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross really didn't need it, and man, what happened to Nikki Cross from a year ago? And one thing about Elias and King Corbin was the build for it when he, pushed Elias down, and that's all I want to talk about that match. I really thought Blazer was going to win, but then circumstance was different. I guess they thought Shayna wasn't ready yet. So, and it was just weird. And we'll explain about the other woman match.
I still think that Shayna isn't ready yet.
Yeah, clearly, yes. I was happy for Sammy for winning. He defeated Daniel Bryan because everybody's like, oh yeah, it's going to be Shinsuke or Daniel Bryan, but nope, our good friend, and we are a fan of Sami Zayn. Check out his Oscar-worthy trailer.
Oh yeah.
And the ladder match was great, but you had 3 good workers in there, and it was weird that it was for the tag team belts for one person from each team. I kind of like that. I wish they do that again. It just Convict kind of messed that up, but it was interesting. It wasn't a bad match, and I thought that was interesting how they made that Morrison win the belts. And I agreed about Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. And I'm going to say this, Joe. I enjoyed the Monday Night Messiah.
I loved it.
But
I just hated the feud.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. The fuse was not great with Ray, Kevin. Drew was
because it only lasted a month,
but it's just
And Ray was actually more of the genesis of it. It's not.
And stuff like that. So it wasn't. The character was great, Self was great, but his feuds were not the best to talk about anything. Braun Strowman versus Goldberg. I'm only going to talk about why this happened. The Fiend was champion. And they needed Goldberg at Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it was for a thing. And Goldberg was on SmackDown. It was a ratings hit, so they figured, you know what? Let's pick Goldberg. Let's put the title on Goldberg and have him come to WrestleMania and have Roman Reigns versus Goldberg. But then Roman's leukemia came back, so he had to step down. And so, you know what? They're like, you know what? Let's make it Braun Strowman. I'm like, joy.
Wait, did his leukemia came back, or was he just concerned?
Just concerned.
I'm sorry, concerned because he had leukemia. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. You're right. He was concerned because he recovered from leukemia. So I'm just like, I don't care about this title match. I just like, who cares? And it was 2 minutes. Thank God. That's all I could say. And I used to be a Braun Strowman fan when he was a heel. It was great. They kept him, they protected him. He wasn't too much of him, but then they kept showing on me, like you said. The only thing you know is the power slam. You're going to get these hands, and you let me run around the ring like a train, which is a pun. I go with that. And and all his matches the same thing. He either get jumped or he gets, how can I say, he gets
stupid.
It's that they make him an unstoppable guy, but he still lose matches, which don't make sense in that aspect of it. So why would I root for him or think he's going to win or anything? But yeah, you're right. People was happy that he got the title. I thought it was just too late. No one cares. And any good moments about Braun Strowman title reign? Exactly.
No.
I can give you one positive thing about his title reign. We got another Mizmo hit.
Yeah.
About him. Exactly. So
yeah. I mean, the dude wears
That's what I feel about things,
instead
but-
of dress shoes, the dude wears Crocs. I mean,
That's Crocs. Ew. You see? So that's all I can say about that. But the Boneyard match, like Muhammad said, you had WWE productions behind this, so they went all out. It was awesome. It was good. If the Undertaker stayed one more year, I wouldn't mind him just having cinematic matches, because I'm thinking that would have been his last thing for him to do to keep him healthy and not. We've seen Undertaker wrestle a bunch of matches. I think having a couple of more cinema matches wouldn't kill him. It'd be interesting if it like up to that level. Not too many now, but I enjoyed it. AJ was a good villain for this. Loved the Good Bros in this. It was great. It was the bee's knees of an awesome WrestleMania main event, and I still remember him riding out into the sunset. That was just an awesome moment.
Yeah.
That was the moment right there.
Right after
Everything
he put
else
the
was
laser
great, but that
projector.
last one. Hey, we don't question the power of the Undertaker, okay?
Yeah, okay.
He did his Black Power thing and he rode off, okay? Okay. He's down.
Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Mucho Drive-In. If you liked that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the Drive-In. For full episodes of our podcast, you may look us up on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Just search for Outlaw Mucho Drive-In. And if it's not too much trouble, would you help us out here? Spread the word, share. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. We love you. Bye.